and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. He has made everything beautiful and appropriate in its time. He has also planted eternity, a sense of divine purpose in the human heart, a mysterious longing which nothing under the sun can satisfy except for God. Yet man cannot find out, comprehend, grasp what God has done, his overall plan from the beginning to the end. I know that there is nothing better for them than to rejoice and to do good as long as they live, and also that every man should eat and drink and see, enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of God. I know that whatever God does, it endures forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor can anything be taken from it. For God does it so that men will fear and worship him with awe-filled reverence, knowing that he is God. That which is has already been, and that which will be has already been, for God seeks what has passed by. Brothers and sisters, we do not want you to be uninformed that those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind, who have no hope. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again. So we believe that God will bring those who have fallen asleep in him, according to the Lord's word. We tell you that we who are yet still alive, who are left until the coming of the Lord, will certainly not precede those who have fallen asleep. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command and the voice of the archangel and the trumpet call of God, and those in Christ will rise first, and after that, those who are still alive and left will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so we will be with the Lord forever. We are here to celebrate my brother, Paul Simmons Jafar Abdul-Muiz. Here on behalf of my sister. Here on behalf of my sister, Jody Maria Jackson, and the children, Lynette, Khalil, Divine, and Golden. We're here to just say a few words and say a few pieces about him and the life he lived. Now, this whole process, I have learned a lot about my brother-in-law. And I was thinking about his height and him being 6'3", and thinking about the house that is being built, and to know that when he came into the home, he would duck under because he was so tall. He would duck under, and now to think that with the house now, he would have been able to just walk there and just walk through. Learning about him this week. Learning that he's a boxer and that he was a track star. I think there's a song called Track Star. I ain't gonna go there. But he's a track star. But then he was an avid basketball player, and everybody knows that Divine and Golden took up basketball and after their dad. And then going through some of the pictures, Divine looked and said, "My dad had dreads?" Yeah, long ones too. And there's pictures with, there's a picture that's in there with Angel and Sherman, a couple of his best friends that are here, of the work that he did with New South and showing that his dreads were long and strong. So this part of the service is going to be very short because we want to pay homage to him as he were as Paul Simmons, and then the Brotherhood will come and pay respects to him as he is as Jafar Abdul-Muiz, and give him those respects and last rites. So in scripture, as you know, Psalms 23 is very familiar. We're very familiar with this part of scripture. Psalms 23 says this: "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for he is with me. I will not be afraid. Your rod and your staff, they protect and they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies, and you anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy has followed us all the days of our life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We go to
23.
Oh, no, that's not what we do.
A Psalm of David.
Things that want to talk to you, they don't want to talk back. But we go to 1 Corinthians in the 15th chapter, the 55th through the 57th verse. O death, where's your victory? O death, where's your sting? For sin is the sting that results in death, but the law gives sin its power. But thank you to God, he gives us victory over sin and death through our Lord Jesus Christ. And here you see, I left one thing out, but my sister says that one of Paul's favorite hymns was Amazing Grace. So I will sing Amazing Grace for him. And then after that, we will have remarks from a couple of his best friends here, Sherman Evans, Angel Quintero, and then after that, Deborah Simmons, and then I'll come back again after that. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. And I'll sing it again, and everyone can join. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I found. Was blind, but now I see. Amen. Sherman and Angel, and then Deborah.
Yeah, for sure. Probably like that.
Yeah, what? First of all, I would like to just say thank you to Jafar. This dude was an amazing cat, man. Like, he showed up, and he showed up for us all the time. It is a pleasure to call him my friend. We left out a few things Jafar was, though. We had a record company at one point, and Jafar was security. Jafar was transportation. Man, he was a jack of all trades. Just an amazing person who, just a special person. And if you got to spend any time with Jafar, you know that. when I got the call or the text telling me Jafar has finally transitioned, I cried. And those tears, man, were so joyful too, though, because I only cry for people I love, and I love this cat. And I was also crying with joy for him because, man, he's out of that pain. Like, you know, Jafar was a strong guy, man. You know, like, I don't know too many people who could walk in his shoes and stand upright. But that brother, man, he was all of that.
No, continue. Hi, I'm Angel Quintero, and you know, just hear Jafar. I can call him Jafar.
Yeah.
And he always said, "Hey, big bro, hey, big bro." But you know, I have a lot of moments with Jafar because I met Jafar because of Sherman. You know, we and always will be business partners. You know, we started this company called New South there. And we traveled the whole country, and Jafar was just, you know, sometimes life gives you a wingman. And honestly, Jafar just, whatever we did, Jafar said, let's go.
He did.
I mean, I ain't care, hey man, we gotta go jack this dude up, let's go. Jafar was that dude, for real, you could always count on him. He was, if it wasn't in the limos, it was there, Jafar was there.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were building New South, Jafar would come late at night and cut pipes and whatever, and you know, and with that we started, you know, hearing about Jafar because we started talking about stuff, and you know, and it says here, you know, Jafar was a machine tradesman. You read that, and it took me back to a funny story that Jafar was telling me. He said, "Yeah, man, I got this job at this machine shop, and they told me to make." And they had brought in a part to make, you know where I'm going, right? He said, and they told me, you know, they brought this part that was broken to make it, and the guy told me, hey, I need this part made just like it is. So Jafar made it. The guy said, yo, bro. I said, you made the part broken. I said, you told me to make it just like it is. So he made it exactly skillfully, just like the part was. So, say, you know, he paid attention to detail. That's what I'm saying with this. But really, more than anything, you know, he had a good heart. And basketball player, he never beat me, but, you know, but he did play basketball. Now, Jafar was that dude that would run forever, though.
Yeah, he was.
He was like Forrest Gump.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really. I mean, you see Jafar sometimes, he's like, man, where you at? I ran 10 miles. 10 miles? Bro, I'm going to drive 10 miles. I ain't run no 10 miles. Not in this heat. And he was doing stuff like that. Jafar stayed in real good health, and it was sad because when I met Jafar, he was considered older already, but he was running with us. Like I said, we couldn't go nowhere without Jafar.
Yep.
I mean, what Jafar live? I don't even. But he was always an amazing, and I can honestly say, you know, I didn't see him every day, but. You know, we always had conversations about Jafar, always. Because like I said, we can't remember a time in us in business that he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so, man, Jafar, you know, for me, from big bro, you know, man, I love you and I appreciate the time that you gave me. And man, go be at peace, bro. One day I'll see you again. I'll see you again, but I'll keep looking at you in my spirit. So, thank you. And yeah, I mean, I got to say to you, you did make him smile. Mm-hmm. You did make him smile. He said, hey, big bro, I found me one, man. I found me one. I said, who you found? I mean, he said, and I was like, I said, why would you find? You done married up? You know, but you gotta give him that space right now in that room and just let you know, bro. Yeah. They say you're in a good place. One day I'll find exactly how really good it is. But you know, when you ain't got no worries, you ain't got nothing, there's nothing but sunshine and happiness, it can't only be but good. So God bless you, I love you, and man, your family's gonna be fine. Just relax, bro. All right.
And one other thing though that really kind of struck me in the moment is if, but when. And as I was reflecting on the time with Jafar and the moment that we're all in, I started really, really asking myself, what am I gonna do with my time, right? Because it's not if we get our wings, we're gonna get our wings one day, right? But it's when they're gonna come and how I'm gonna live my life while I have this time on this earth. You know, how am I gonna love? How am I gonna show up? You know, brother showed up. How am I gonna show up? And the one thing I do walk away with in this moment, with the love for him, is in the path that he's kind of shown me, is I'm gonna make every day count. I'm gonna tell the people I love them, right? I'm gonna smile because I got a gift, because I got up. You know, I'm not living with regrets, right? I'm living. And thank you for that, Jafar, because really, man, it just reaffirmed, you know, show up, be present. Your day is coming too. And I can't wait to get my wings. But while I'm here, I'm gonna make sure that I live a blessed and a whole life. And once again, everyone in here, this is beautiful because this is love for Jafar. So thank you guys.
Brother Sehar, that's what they called him in New York in St. Nick Projects. He was my dad. He raised me. He used to braid my hair in 3 plaits, 1 to the side, 2 to the back, and take me outside so I could play in the park while he played basketball. I went to him one day and I said, brother, the boys keep teasing me. Can you beat them up for me? And he said, no, I'll get in trouble. But what he did do is he started taking me and my nieces to the gym. He taught us how to box. He taught us how to kickbox. He taught me how to defend myself. He always had my back. Always had my back. I remember when I was living in the Bronx one day and he came knocking on my door. He said, sis, I got bit by a dog. You still got that scar. Right, Jetty? You still got that scar. I didn't know what to do, but I threw some peroxide on it and wrapped it up and it healed eventually. My sister, Punchy, and brother was at the house and I was taller than Punchy even though she was older than me, and the fan we had didn't have no cover in the front of it. And Mommy said, don't plug it in because it's gonna rock. So I don't want you to plug it in. So Punchy plugged it in and it started falling forward. And I stuck my hands out into the going fan and cut every one of my fingers to the bone. And Punchy went running, woke up brother, blood was everywhere. So he took me in the bathroom, filled up the sink, filled it with peroxide, stuck my hand in it, and the water came pink. And I was like, ooh, bubbles, ooh, pink bubbles. And he was like, Mommy's gonna kill me if she come home and your hands ain't the way she left them. You know? I mean, he was there all my life in every period of my life. When I was 8 years old, Mommy took us on a vacation. We were swimming. Well, nobody was swimming. He was hanging out, and I was standing by the pool. And the wind got real hard. And the little girl said, I'm going in the pool. I said, you going swimming in this, about to rain? She said, yeah. She said, would you feel the water for me? And I went to bend over and feel the water, and I fell in 13 feet of water. I didn't know how to swim. I kept seeing floating to the top, could see the top of the pool, but I couldn't. Then I go back down. Little girl ran to brother. He said, your sister fell in the pool. Brother said, she ain't in no pool because she don't know how to swim. He saw my little red sweater come to the top of the pool and he jumped in and got me. And he said, Deborah, when we go in the room, tell Mommy we got caught in the rain. Everything in his pocket was destroyed, money and everything. So all my years when I look at him, I've always had a very high respect for my brother. He brought me into Islam. He named me Simmons Jafar Abdul-Muiz. He gonna be with me for the rest of my life. I'm glad that he's at peace. I'm glad he's not suffering because his limitations suffered him. When he couldn't be who he wanted to be and do the things that he knew he could do, it made him suffer. But he's at peace now. I didn't want him to leave me. I'm the last sibling and I didn't want him to leave me. But it's okay. It's okay that he's left me. Because he's going to be with me all the rest of my life, for the rest of my life within me, because he is still things in me that I will always use. It will always benefit my life. I will always be knowledgeable because of the love and the care and the discipline that he poured into me. My children, he helped me raise them. He was there for them. Taught my son how to drive. When you drive, you don't have no radio on and you 10 and 2 completely. You know, no noise, no nothing. You know, I could go on and on and I'm not, but bruh, I love you. I love you so much. And Jetty, from the bottom of my heart, my mind, and my soul, I appreciate you because even when y'all thought it was over, it was never over. You stood by my brother for 20 or more years. And I love you for that. And I truly am grateful that God did put you in my brother's life. And I'm glad that you brought me some niece and nephew. So I appreciate you and I love you, okay? Sherman, Angel, I remember when we had that little tire shop or something. I used to come by it and get free tires. Sherman, I love you. I love the family, Becky. I love them all. I'm so glad y'all was a part of his life and allowed him to be a part of yours. I am grateful to God for allowing me to be his little sister, even though most of the time I had to act like the big sister. But it was okay because we had that kind of bond, that kind of understanding. The last words I heard him say to me was, "Deborah, I hear you." Right, Jetty? And that brought joy to me, even though I know what was about to happen soon. That gave me joy, and I will hold on to that voice and him hollering at me because he done it all my life. So I'm gonna hold on to that. But I thank all of you being here, loving my brother. I thank y'all for supporting Jetty and my children. I love y'all, and I know y'all love your uncle. I know that you learned something and gathered something from his life that you will always apply. You will always use. When you think of him, something's gonna happen in your life that you're gonna think about. Uncle Jafar said that. Uncle Jafar did this. They didn't call my brother Paul because we were raised in the Muslim faith. And so my children all have Islamic names because of him. Thank y'all. God bless every one of you, and may your days be painless. Okay, we cry and we hurt, but That's a joyful hurricane because we experienced something like a miracle in our lives. Thank you, Maurice, for having been back. I know you, her sister. And I love you as well. Did a beautiful service. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherman. Thank you, Angel. Thank you to his sister Deborah. Thank you even Mike for being here within the last few days, last few weeks. A lot of things transpired, and there were those who came, spent time, hours, and as she said, one of the last, she was talking, and I heard her, and he said, "I hear you." Even in what he was going through, and even in the transition, he let his sister know, "I still hear you." So I do want to say this on behalf of my sister, and she's not on the program, but she still wants to speak, so she will have the opportunity to do that. And as Deborah said, even when it looked like it was the end, it was never the end. When they say till death do part, she did that. She did that. When we look at each other and you know, those things that like, you don't think the things that you would do when your time comes, she did that. From bathing, to feeding, to clothing, to changing, to make sure you got the doctor's appointments, make sure he had his medicines. And even when he took his last breath, I was at work and it was Divine's birthday on the Monday. On the 21st, it was his birthday, he turned 15. And she kept instead, he was like, "I'm not gonna go on my son's day. I'm not gonna go on my son's day." And after I was at work, she went over, relieved my father from watching him. She went over, put some music on it, some words and everything, and was holding his hand, and she was talking to him, and he was still responding. And 12 o'clock midnight hit. And 6 minutes later, on Tuesday morning, Jafar decided to take his last breath in my sister's arms. So when you say to death do part, to the very last breath, even when it looks like it may have been the end, she was there. And so Jed, I tell you, thank you. I appreciate you. You did a good job. Even when he was frustrating and yelling at you, we know he did. She was still his sweetheart and his dear. I come in the house, "Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Dear, can you?" I'm like, what is this? I mean, he'd sit in that chair and he'd have his tray and she'd give his food. I had to make sure everything I brought in, I had no pork, make sure he eat what he needed to eat. He's very picky, but I made sure that everything I brought in was good, even though I don't do so much, but still, I had to make sure that he was respected when he was in the house, make sure he was respected when we went and visited. So Jen, it's your space.
Everyone? Okay. Go back to where I met. I know Miss Paul. I met him, at his mama's church, and he was visiting a while, and I was like, okay. He was there for a minute, and I was like, I watched him, and I was like, who is this man with these dreadlocks? He was wearing all the time. I was like, all right. And one time, he was trying to woo me at the time. He was like, I don't know how to work the computer. So can you show me? I was like, me? Show you? I was like, we can go down to the library together. And they had some classes at the time. And he's like, okay, let's go do it together. Back in the day, we going back. And I'll show him how to do this and this on the mouse. And from there on, he took a liking to me. We went out to one time to dinner, and that was kind of it. The story goes on. But he was always, when we got married, he always, we went on like different trips before we got married and things like that. And afterwards, he loved going to concerts. He then plays with me, and we wanted to put the performing arts in the kids. Anything dealing with basketball, of course. He was so happy when Divine and Golden loved picking up that, and Divine was so energetic, and he started running fast down the street. I'm like, oh, you're gonna be like your dad, because he was so fast, taking off. And he loved Divine and Golden, and he loved all the kids, but he loved Divine and Golden. He's like, I want to make sure that, you know, they're straight, and he would work hard. You know, he was the manual machinist, he was the maintenance, he would do, he loved his houseman job at different places, and he loved when he was also the doorman at Spectator Hotel. He got to wear his suit and his hat and his cane, and he loved that part. And he worked so hard for Divine and Golden, not only for us. You know, he was so excited when I was said I was going to be pregnant with one and then other, and then we got a house to start building for them. And I was like, you know, we wanted to give them exposure to everything. So I was like, you know, we think about summer camp. He's like, summer camp? He's used to staying home, you know, different things and just chilling. I was like, no, we need to put him in all these different things. And so he would work hard for us to put them in from 4 years old onward. He wanted them to have exposure. They went to gymnastics class and martial arts class and basketball camp, these all-day camps, you know, coding for Divine. We also did, you name it, she did, we got hip-hop dance for both of them. You know, when we wanted to make sure exposure, we wanted to make sure they both knew how to swim. He would take them to swimming classes. I was working a lot of times, and when I couldn't be there, he definitely was there. You know, just, to make sure that they had all these different exposures and stuff throughout the time. When I said we wanted Divine to know how to do fishing and do, you name any kind of camp that we could have put them in from 4 years old till 12, they've kind of aged out now. That's what we did. This is the first summer I think they've ever been able to relax and chill. And that was just something he wanted to make sure that he's giving them all exposure and they can decide based on what they like and don't like. And we used to co-sleep with both of these kids, but like I said, I was working a night shift. And so when I wasn't there, I'd be like, I got him through bedtime and such, and then he would be there and say, okay, he slept with them until all of a sudden, you know, you have a knee in your back and a foot there. I was like, oh, no, they need to go to their bedroom. They need to go to their bedroom. And so, but he was always there in the middle of the night. Golden would snuggle up close to him, and I'd be like, and getting him in the room so she had those different things. I was like, he was just the most supportive father, and he was a great husband. You know, he was always calling me sweetheart, like she says, and calling me dear, and I'm like, okay. With me, he knows me. I didn't really have to do nicknames. I always had to say, hey, this is your name. I would call him straight. But I'm not used to nicknames. He knows that, but he knows that he was a place in my heart. But every time I walked through the door, even when I was getting him food, he's like, sweetheart, hi, or call him dear. I'm like, yes, and my sister was right. Yeah, I said, he's a very picky eater. I said, even when he went to the hospital and when he went to the nursing home, I was like, there's food in here. I was like, I know. I'm gonna bring you some food. I'll bring it by, you know, to make sure you eat. And I was like, you know, and there and at home, I'm like, we can't be your personal chef. Because when I said there's little bit of things he liked, and I didn't do much cooking, I admit it, y'all. I know how to cook. I do. I went to culinary school, but by the time I was like, but he was like, as long as it was good, he was like, all right. And he loved it when at Thanksgiving or Christmas, I got in that kitchen, he was like, what? And you think even the simplest things like spaghetti and meatballs, he was like, I love this, or I love your chili, or I make cheesecake. Them things. He loves sweets. He loves candy, you name it. And so I bring him, I'm like, you know I gotta watch your sugar, right? And he's like, I don't care, he's sneaking stuff. But it's just the little things that I remember about him. And even as he kept going on through the years and getting older, yes, I did what I felt I was supposed to do. I was there by his side, no matter what the papers said. I was there every day. I do what I call my rounds. I go from work straight to him to my parents back home, and I make sure that I did his medicine straight. She's right. I make sure his food. I do the grocery shopping, bring everything that he needed, you know, till the very end. And it was right after that midnight. I said that it was Divine's birthday. I was there, and I was like, okay, it's all nice and quiet in here and tranquil. And I was like, okay, I'm looking. I said, hold on, he was really peaceful. And I picked him up, and I was like, Paul? I was like, and I held him to my chest, and his last breath was, I said, Paul. And I was like, you're really not here anymore. And I could immediately call my sister, she's right, because he wanted to do home hospice. He didn't like hospitals at all. He's like, you can't get no sleep in the hospital. You can't get in the hospice. He's like, no. When he found out that he was getting a little bit more frailer and sick, he's like, I want to be at home at peace. And that's what I just made sure that he had. That's what I was making sure. That we're not going to do this. We're going to do this at home. And you have your home house. And we, Divine and Golden and my father and my sister, they all helped so much with what we needed in those last stages, especially Divine. He was there around the clock for his dad. 24/7, he was there. You know, I give him a break as a teenager because I'm like, you gotta be a teenager. And I come home, let do video games, be with his kids, you know, be with his friends and stuff like that. But he did that too. He helped. And Golden, if daddy needs something to eat or something to drink, she's right there. And I said, spend as much time as you can with dad. Learn whatever you can learn. I was like, he's history. He's history to me. He's watched politics. He watched anything you want to know. I said, this is where you need to go. From all the experiences in New York, Harlem, from Rucker Park that he would talk about, the things that happened. He loved his jazz music. He loved playing his flute, all those different things. I said, grab what you can grab from your dad. And so I was blessed to be with Paul or Jafar, as people call him. And I do love you very much to the very end.
I'm not sure if everybody knows. I'm sorry. I'm not sure if everybody knows who I am. I've noticed that everybody has experienced a different version of my uncle. I just wanted to say that the version that I experienced, like, there's a lot of babies in here. But at one point, I was the baby. But my uncle didn't treat me like that. He taught me and my other cousins, people like Magnum, my brother Q. He taught us how to be men. He gave us a great example. I remember being young, running around in New South with Angel and Sherman, Miss Becky. I remember my uncle being everything that everybody said. I mean, entrepreneur, basketball player. You know, I played basketball all my life, and I beat everybody in my neighborhood. But my Uncle Jafar was like the last boss. He was like the final boss.
He played hard.
And I mean, all my life I couldn't beat him, but at some point, you know, I got there, but I still knew that he could have beat me if he wanted to. But I just wanted to say, like, you know, he just, as a man, he taught me and other people how to be men, how to be stand-up men, how to be polite, how to be generous, how to be militant, and how to be straightforward, how to protect our families, how to be there for the women in our families, and never back down. And I remember him always coming around, I mean, just randomly popping up, picking up all of us. My uncle had a van, and he'd just pick up all of us, all the kids, and he always had a pocket full of money. We go skating, we go to the movies, we go James Island, we go everywhere. So a lot of life experiences I experienced was because of my uncle. We was real close, real tight, and he always kept it straight with me. He always kept the jokes, always kept everybody laughing. But when it came to me and a lot of the other men in our family, he always made sure we were straight. He didn't care. He didn't care about your feelings. He didn't care what it was. He was gonna tell you how to be a man, make sure that you did it. And that's how it was. I'll tell you this quick story. I remember one time, I thought we were so cool and friends, and he's at the house with us, and my brother Q had snuck out the house, and I thought, you know, it was proof nobody knew. Like, we was doing this all the time. Q snuck out, and I came out the house, and Uncle Jafar was outside, and he just automatically knew. He was like, "Where your brother at?" And I said, "I don't know. I think he in the room." Uncle Jafar was like, "You know your boy is not in that room." And I said, "Uncle Jafar, I don't know where he at." And he said, "You know where he at, and you better go get him." And I said, "Uncle Jafar, I'm not going over there." Because, you know, I was scared to go over there too. So I was like, I'm not going over there. And Uncle Jafar said, "Well, if you don't go over there, I'm going to wake your mom up, and I'm going to tell her what you said in your sleep last night." And I said, "Well," I thought about it. I said, "I don't know what I said in my sleep last night." So I was like, I might want to, you know, go get my brother, you know. So I go knock on the, I get my brother, and he's like, "What you want?" And I said, "Bro, listen, you got to come home now, because Uncle Jafar know you over here, and we going to get in trouble." And he was like, "Nah, he just playing. He not going to tell." He's like, I said, "Bro, listen, Uncle Jafar said it, let's go." And when I said that, he looked at me, and we both looked at each other, and he knew we both better get home. So he just kind of had that kind of effect on us. And anytime, you know, you had anything going on, you need any type of manly advice, and you know you want a straight answer, you go to Uncle Jafar, and he gonna tell you like it is, and, you know, keep it straight with you. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I appreciate y'all. Jetty, I appreciate you very much for everything that you've done. I know you made him very happy. So thank you very much to you and your family. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, cousins. Thank you for speaking well of my brother Paul, my brother Jafar. Jafar. If anybody knew that Paul was a musician, I remember when Jet and Paul got married, he played the flute at their wedding. And if the flute would have been displayed, but the moment that I put the flute in Divine's hands, Divine was like, "I remember holding this and carrying this." So he is holding his father's flute. But there is, we pulled out the flute solo from their wedding. Jet wanted it to be played, so we're going to play it now. We've also found original scores of music that he has created. So I am so much a musician, you know, keys and all, you know, notes and stuff. But as soon as I can find somebody who knows how to do all of that, then we're gonna get it taken care of so that you'll have it. Okay. So as you can hear how Paul was very skilled in what he did. You know, for me, if I blew into a flute, I don't know if you're gonna get anything out. You probably get, and that's about it. You had to have a certain kind of strength to play wind instruments. If anybody's ever played a wind instrument, you know you gotta have a special kind of strength and a special kind of the lips in order to make that happen. So Paul did an absolutely wonderful job. So before the Brotherhood will be here shortly, I'm going to sing a song of comfort to the family, to my sister, to give you some type of remembrance of peace. You did a good job. You took care of him to the end. Divine and Golden, we loved your daddy. Divine, you are the spitting image of a younger picture of your daddy, and as soon as they show it, you're gonna see you look just like your daddy. Just like him. All right.
that you allowed us to see that love has nothing to do with age, but has all to do with the heart. Thank you so much, and may God continue to bless you and your children and the extended family and friends.